Alrighty then. So, welcome to Spilling the Tea with Dee. I'm excited to have another episode with some amazing fitness professionals that are here with me today. So, I'd like to introduce my panel before we go into the topic. We have a lovely panel starting up with the lovely Una Duncan, who is a award-winning fitness professional. And Alrighty then. So, welcome moment. To Spilling the Tea with Dee. I'm excited to have another episode. Okay, sorry about that.
Nice.
That was a little feedback
You.
there. So, as was mentioned, we have Una Duncan, who is an award winning fitness professional and best selling author, and just an amazing all around person who will be joining us on our panel today. And we have as well Steven Sinanen, who is also a wonderful fitness professional and an amazing lip syncer. You have to check him out on TikTok, I should say. So we're gonna get in it today. Our topic today is sex, lies, and video streaming as it pertains to the fitness industry. So we're gonna get into it and find out all the juicy stuff that goes on behind the scenes when we talk about how this topic has an impact in our industry. So let's get into it. So one thing I've noticed, particularly over the last 10 or so years, we know generally whenever you look at a counter, when you go in the checkout aisle, you're going to see magazines, and usually at the front of the magazine is some chisel up and out person on Muscle Magazine or what have you. So we know body imaging, pressure to have a body image in a certain way is not new. However, when it comes to us as fitness professionals, does that have an impact to our own body images? Are we oftentimes, do we feel the pressure that we got to have that six pack and that chiseled out look in order to attract clientele? So I want to put it out to the panel is, does sex really sell in the fitness industry? What are your thoughts?
So I have some thoughts on this. Is that okay, Steve?
Yeah, go ahead, Ona.
So it's, as you guys both know, I used to teach the CanFit Pro personal training certification. And one of the most common questions I got from prospective students, so picture, these are people who are like, I've always kind of wanted to be a trainer. I don't know if I can do it like that. So they would email me, and the number one question was, do I have to be in perfect shape first before I can train others? And I would often bring up the discussion in class because it was a huge thing that we had to get out of the way right away. You don't have to have a perfect body in order to coach people. Mm-hmm. And I do think, however, you do have to be inspiring in whatever way you want to lead people, so definitely there are people who want the six-pack abs, and I think that's great. Like, more power to them. That's great. And if you want to be the person who's going to show people how to do the six-pack abs, then you should be able to show that you can achieve that result either for yourself or for other people. However, there are so many other goals that I think people can have in the fitness industry. And as long as we are demonstrating that we are not only have demonstrated an ability to achieve that and to recreate that success with other people, but that we are actually working on ourselves, I think that's the most important thing. And having the six-pack abs, yes, will be inspiring for some people, but will be a total turnoff for others who that might not be their goal, or they find it completely triggering because they've had bad experiences with that kind of marketing before, mm-hmm. or they find it just completely intimidating because they feel very far away from that. For that person, someone who's got, more realistic body composition is going to be much more inspiring.
Right. Yeah, I agree. For sure. Like different body types are going to just inspire different people. Yeah. But come on now, let's look at people like Shaun T and Massey Ayres. I mean, it kind of sometimes feels like.
Correct. I think for me, like I do still. Oh,
go ahead. You froze.
Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I think sometimes I do struggle with body image in general. I think that's been something I've struggled with throughout my life. But I have a bit more manageable handle with it with regards to my mental health. Sometimes I think about the six-pack. I know I've been turned down from opportunities because I don't look that super chiseled part. Do I want to make that my goal to look that part to get whatever opportunity that was? Probably not anymore. As I go on in my life, I realize that's not what's more important to me. It's more important to know that I'm strong and healthy. So when clients or members or class participants come to me and their first question is about the aesthetic, how can you get me to get booty? How can you get me to have six packs? I try to go where my brain went to make myself feel better, is think about the positives. Like, what can make you stronger. In getting stronger, maybe you might get a booty, maybe you might get a six pack, but should that be the ultimate goal? Where can you focus on what you're good at right now, and what are your great qualities right now? I find.
My favorite
And you also
question.
think to Una's part was about looking the part. It's very debatable what that part is, because six packs are not everything everybody wants. Some people just want to walk upstairs and that's their six pack of life, walking upstairs, right? So in the industry, I find a lot of people say, well, you have to look the part, you have to look the part. They say that, but they also say, like, be comfortable in your own skin. So you can't, sometimes the industry speaks out of both sides of their mouth. Like, you can't do both things at the same time.
Like, make up your mind.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what? I think that, what you just said about sometimes I do have, I feel like I'm turned down for, I have, body issues or whatever. And yet I work on my mental health. I'm like, that is the value that we offer our clients. Mm-hmm. And that is the actual road that a lot of them are traveling. And I also think that there is something, and I would love to open this up for debate, because I have done tons of split testing on Facebook ads, as you guys probably know, mm-hmm. and I can confirm sex sells. Like because I used to be a fat activist, and it was a huge part of my identity and the brand that I want to put out there to have body diversity. But when I run ads with body diversity, mm-hmm. they do not do as well as like the cheesiest stock photo. Mm-hmm. Like they honestly just do better. But here's the thing, guys, our brains are just wired that way through maybe years of social conditioning, but maybe it's just evolutionary. Like, who knows what it is, but it is like a primordial, like, instinct. That is what people go to, even if it is not in alignment with their core values. Mm-hmm. Our eyes will more go to that. So I wonder if there's people who, it's like one of those, sell them what they want and give them what they need, right? Mm-hmm. So I sometimes think of stuff like before and after marketing as like the Trojan horse that gets them into my community, and when then they're in, I'm like, sucka, self-love.
Right.
Like, when someone comes up to Steve and says like, how do I get rid of this? Or how do I whatever? Yeah. And then, Steve starts to, but then actually they start coming to his classes thinking they're coming to get rid of this, but then they fall in love with him and his joy. And then they're like, whoa, actually, I want to be like that. That sounds like so much fun. Mm-hmm. And then it helps shift them. So if they get into my classes because they think they're getting the six-pack abs, then I'm like, whatever, fine, come one, come all. Yes, six-pack abs, come this way.
Right.
When they're in my world, then we have an opportunity to influence.
Mm-hmm. But I used to be in marketing and advertising, and 100% to Una's point, it just is the way it is. That's what people gravitate towards too. I mean, go ahead, Dione.
Oh no, I'm just agreeing. Yeah, because I'm saying I come from a marketing background as well, and that sex sells. Mm-hmm. And it's just like this constant. Even I'm in the same boat like with you, Una. Like, I put out ads. And I even have a different layer of not just about body imaging, but also as a woman of color. I mean, I have put out an ad of my face, or, a picture of myself back in the day where I'm like advertising a certain class. Yeah. And it got so response. And then I actually changed it. I put like a white woman, didn't change anything else. Yeah. And I saw like double the amount of clicks, and I'm like, wait a second. So I had to learn, okay, not to take it too personally, but just understand, like you said, oftentimes we're just socially conditioned to see what beauty is supposed to be like, or what. Mm-hmm. So kind of like, it's like, again, if we can kind of, not to say that I'm taking my face out of any more of my ads, but I just learned to appreciate the fact that sometimes you do have to kind of throw a little bait on the hook to say, okay, fine, you want to see this particular image just to get you to be interested at first. And then now let's get you into like, get the real stuff done. Let's really get the long-term goals done, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And get them to think of it as a lifestyle as opposed to a destination. Like, rather than getting to the six-pack, how can we get stronger as we get there? What else will happen in your life as you work towards something else,
Right, but that is so hard to market.
Yeah, I know.
You have to advertise the six-pack abs. If you start talking about the way of working out, they're going to be like, no thanks.
That's like,
true
whatever.
True that, don't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really at that spot about becoming my higher self right now. I just want to write this.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to touch on something you said, Una, which is a really good point in regards to, don't tell me to slip my mind, but you were talking about yes, we're talking about social conditioning. We're just talking about, it'll come back to me, but I just want to kind of acknowledge that point about, we do have to acknowledge, oh, now I got the point. Here we go. Talking about when you were training personal trainers and kind of like being the body that you're trying to aspire to be. So I think that you do kind of have to show yourself as an example because we are leaders. Not that we're all going to be chiseled out, but again, if you are leading a class that is a cardio based class and you're huffing and puffing, you know, 5 minutes into the class, then yeah, we do have to at least be able to demonstrate that we are leaders and that we can demonstrate the activities and that our bodies show a body that is active. Again, not that there's not going to be any curves or a little bit of jiggle here and there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, there has to be some element of sexiness in a sense of like, okay, that person is active, so their body moves and does look like someone that is active, right?
I think our greatest duty as leaders is to show that sort of growth mindset and that we are trying and pushing ourselves and growing in whatever way we have to do that. So if it is, who I'm out of shape and yes, I'm finding these squats hard and I'm going to still do them. And
Right.
I'm going to smile through them. And, and guess what, whatever, I overeat, like to be human and keep pushing ourselves, I think is absolutely to set that is the example that is up to us to set. And
This authenticity in showing that it's a struggle for you as us as professionals as well. Like you just said, like I don't want to do 32 squats or 32 push-ups. I'm here with you doing it. We're doing it together. It's not. Yeah. I'm not superstar. I can't just do it like that. I'm with you, showing you what my real capabilities are, and I think people can connect with the authenticity of that.
Totally.
Yeah,
but they want to know, but they do want to know that you are capable. In their head, they always think you're capable. If I said do 32 push-ups, they believe I can do 32 push-ups. So I need to do as best as I can to get to those 32 push-ups, right?
Sure. Yep, yeah, very good point.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll oftentimes in my class, people know me for this. I'll scream out, "Is there anybody else dying? Is it just me?" Right?
Yes. Right? Totally.
And they love that. Like they know that, yeah, I can do it, but I'm dying. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know what? And to your point, Dione, that it is a little hard in the fitness industry when we don't feel like we can be authentic with those kinds of very human things. Like I remember when I was teaching body pump when I was 7 months pregnant. And a freaking lunge track. So I'd be doing it and I was talking and I'm like, come on guys. And then I remember afterwards, I'd be like, I just gotta, turn something up on the stereo. I would cover the mic thing and go,
and just heave.
And for some reason, I didn't want them to know that I was dying, even though it would have been very acceptable for me to be dying.
Yeah. 7 months pregnant. Oh my God. I'd be like, you're standing.
It sucks.
And you don't have to run out and pee every 2 seconds.
And that whole dynamic changes too when there's another fitness professional in your crowd, or you're like, I have to bring my 150% game.
Oh,
right?
Totally.
Not sweating at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been the ego, especially when you know it's somebody who someone admires you, and you're like, oh, I'm coming, and they come to you at the beginning of the class. Oh, I'm so looking forward to your class. I've heard so much. I'm like, oh, great. I haven't had much sleep. I'm like, okay, yeah, thanks. So there is definitely we always want to put our A game, but every day isn't going to be 100. So being real and being honest.
But I do think it is our job to do what we expect of our clients when they have bad days, is to get the fuck over it and do your job and and bring what you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so I really think that is part of what we need to demonstrate.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So let's move on. The next section would be lies. So I put this in the sense that how honest should we be with our client? I mean, we should technically be honest, but how honest, how raw, how real? Because again, when that person sees that ad, that pop up in Instagram, like I just last night, it was so funny. I saw this ad pop up. I won't say the name of the product, but they were advertising that you can reduce your face by 10 years by putting this thing in your mouth and doing this this thing in your mouth, right? And they showed the before and after that this person was able to get like a natural facelift from this thing that they put in their mouth and just bit on. So, I mean, we know when there's some BS, right? But then sometimes there's also I find for me, and I invite you guys to thought, I find for me sometimes do I tell them the honest truth? I'm sorry, you can't lose 100 pounds in 30 days. Or do I kind of stroke their ego a little bit, maybe give them a little bit of a white lie to kind of keep them coming back? So, what are your thoughts on that? Do we just tell them the truth, or do we kind of put a little bit in there to make them, keep on coming back?
I think we can still inspire within being truthful. And we can say in 30 days, if you apply what I'm about to teach you, you can feel incredible. Your body can change in ways that you will absolutely be able to notice and your friends will notice. You will be able to fit into jeans that you haven't fit into a long time. Like these things are possible, and you can talk about like the things. And I think that the more you go into the experience of how they can feel and the quality of that, then I really think then you have an opportunity to inspire while still being totally truthful.
Mm-hmm.
I think I agree with what Una said. It also, sometimes you have to frame it like help them understand not everybody's body can do every single thing, right? We'll get you to wherever you want it to be if you follow, like Una said, following this pattern behavior theme. We can get you to a place, but might not be that exact place. So the truth being that we can help you get to where you this picture you're looking at, but it might not be exact like what everyone wants. It's a Kardashian butt, which is not even real to start off with. Right. It's not even real to start off with, right?
Yeah.
I get that one all the time, like all the time.
Oh, that's so funny. Your demographic is very different than mine. I never get Kardashian butt requests. Mine are all flat belly requests, which is like the other day someone said, hey, I'm, in my mid 40s, I've had 3 kids. Will my belly ever be flat again? Like it's that kind of question that I'm like, well, theoretically that is within the realm of possibility. There are 40 something women out there who have flat bellies 100%. However, whether it is possible for you, given your genetics, your lifestyle, your willingness to actually do it, your like loose skin, like that I cannot answer. But I could say, sure, it's possible, because theoretically it's possible in the world. But whether it's possible for her, I agree with you, Dione, is not something that we could and maybe should not promise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think yeah, because I mean, I don't believe in, I believe in being honest, but sometimes I have to hold back on certain things because I have to kind of also, we have to look at our clients and measure what can they handle, right? And sometimes what are they really asking? Are they really asking about the flat belly? Are they just saying, will I ever be sexy again for my partner? Maybe that's the real question that they're asking us.
Great distinction. Totally.
Yeah. Because my part, I feel like they might not desire me if I have extra skin now or whatever, and it's like maybe that's the conversation we need to have rather than about whether you're going to snap back to that belly before, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like what is the flat belly representing in your life, really? That's what the
when you're teaching a class and someone comes up to you at the end and says, hey, how do I get rid of this? I don't know if we've got the opportunity there to make that sort of shift. Do you guys go for it there? I do that in my like deeper programs, but I'm asking like when you like, you're wiping off, you're taking off your mic, you're like running to your next class. Do you say like, what does the flat belly mean to you? I'm actually curious.
I do sometimes. Usually, like if I do have a moment, like if I don't, I just say, listen, I would love to take some more time with you. Can we connect maybe next class a bit earlier or whatever? But if I do have a few moments, we'll step outside and I'll ask why.
Yeah.
Why do you feel you need that, or why do you want that? And then we'll have that deeper conversation. And but sometimes, yeah, if I'm in a rush and they're just asking, I just want to improve my core, I will say, okay, we'll try these 2 things and make sure next class, before our next class, let me see how you do and how you improve. But most of the questions I get at the end, I do get some of those flat belly questions, but a lot of time it's more about technique and form. They're more asking, when you did that lunge sequence, can you give me a little bit more tips on that? And those questions, I love those questions as opposed to just, how do I get rid of this jiggle under my arm?
You know what? You saying that, Dione, and you saying you get Kardashian butt, I think this is so representative how we 3 attract a totally different clientele. Because I feel like, Dione, one of your strengths is that you are so freaking professional and you are so like, and that's why I feel like you would so attract someone who's like, I want to do this and I want to do it right. And I know that Dione is the woman who's going to tell me how to do it right. And I feel like Steva might attract the divas who want the big butt and who want to get a little funky or whatever. And I got a lot of, moms and whatever. So I think that's really interesting that the people who are drawn to us are interested in different things like that.
I kind of get both spectrums. I get that age range of the Kardashian, but then I also get a lot of over 65s.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Who just want to be able to move well. A lot of those questions after class are about technique, I find. They're not really, they don't ask me about the aesthetics. They're asking me about how do I do this well? Because this hurts when I do this. Yeah, exactly. The other thing I've learned that age range, for women especially, their feeling of sexiness of what that means of when they were younger or what they see depletes exponentially in their life every year. Yeah. So I guess I didn't realize until one day in my dance classes that I do encourage people. I always sometimes say things like, touch your body, love your body. It's yours, you own it. It's the only thing you have from birth to death, so you have to love it. And then one woman came up to me a couple of years ago and she says, you know what, one thing you do, like you don't even realize, is that you've taught us how to be sexy to ourselves and appreciate ourselves. And as a byproduct of that, I've met several of their partners who said, thank me for doing that, because I guess it's done something for them in their sex life. And then I realized the value of that in that age range, and watching them do that and feeling that for themselves first, and then they can translate that to other people.
That's wonderful.
This might have been a tangent I just went off on. Sorry.
Oh no, I love that tangent.
That's great. Please spill it. But that reminds me, it just shows you how little people can inspire, because I do that too, but I'll give credit because I went to a workshop. It was one of those sexy workshop, burlesque kind of fitness. And I remember how, some of the moves were, like stroking our breasts. And I remember looking around the room and everybody was like very hesitant. And she yelled out, ladies, it's your body. You can touch it. Right?
Yeah.
And I never forget that. And I use that now in my classes. I often rub my nipples and whatever. I'm like, hey, they're mine.
Yeah, totally. And how amazing that people need permission to do that.
Yeah.
Correct.
To love themselves and to feel amazing in their bodies and stuff. And that is such an awesome gift.
Yeah.
And that is what they're asking for when they say, how can I get rid of this? How can I get this? Yes. But they're like, how can I feel okay in my body? That is really the question. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's hard to sometimes shift that conversation a little bit if you've got a short amount of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it works better in a dance class than a HIIT class, but
totally.
Yeah, I should have qualified. Yeah, not when I'm doing a boot camp. I don't just randomly
doing body pump and you're just nodding up and down.
Yeah, during a burpee. Okay, burpee, please. Yeah, not more so in dance. Yeah. That would be hilarious. I should try a burpee like that. That would
do it.
Right, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the topic of video streaming. So particularly now with the situation where gyms are shut down, a lot of us, including myself, are now finding ways to still connect and navigating this whole video streaming stuff. So I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on what's your experience with it. I mean, we're not technical experts, so I'm not really advocating any particular platforms. People can do the research there, but just overall in terms of the experience side of it. And how you're navigating it, and how you're still managing to stay connected to your client base. Anyone can start.
So for me, I mean, my business was all online before anyway, so that was easy for me. And how I've always delivered workouts is pre-recorded videos, and they do it on their own time because I have people all over the world in different time zones. To do it live was never practical. However, since all this has been going on, I've been watching with absolute fascination how people are delivering workouts and inspiring their people right now. And so I tried one with the Zoom, and I could see all of them in their little boxes, and I'd shout at them through the thing. I found it quite frustrating though, because for example, I mean, I'm like you guys, I want music driven workouts, like I want to go with the beat, I want to like whatever. And the music was lagging behind the camera and stuff so I just found it quite frustrating. And then when I wanted to connect with them, I'd have to read the chat, and then they'd have to stop pumping in order to chat. So for me, I still, after having experimented, and also I've taken some of these classes that are huge, blowing up online with like 5,000 people dancing to some famous choreographer in LA or whatever. So I've been taking these classes on Instagram and Zoom and stuff. And I still feel like, no, it's not working for me.
Yeah.
So conclusion for me is stick to well done video, and also having amazing conversations with my clients.
For me, I think I'm along the lines after watching some stuff, and I've done some pre-recorded stuff for Una, and I've done other pre-recorded stuff, and I find I like being able to control the experience a bit more in terms of audio. Back to your point, Uda. I've done some of the Zoom things with other instructors, which are great. It gets me moving, and I don't have to be the instructor at that time, so I like all those experiences. But I like it to sound well for their experience. So one thing some members have asked me to do Zoom lives, and I've explained. I've just been inputting information, just taking all their information in. But one thing they did say is, like, we have watched other people's, and the one thing that, not that they didn't like it, but that they struggled with was the audio capabilities, right? Because it is, a lot of stuff we do is music driven, right? So you don't want them to not have that experience, because when they start slipping out of the music and the mode of what they're used to, their desire to continue with the class, because they could just click off, right?
Yeah.
It's walking out of a studio is different than just hitting a button and clicking off and then not doing it anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want it to be as engaging as possible. So I think for me, I will stick to more pre-recorded stuff, but I think my interactions might be in the form of a podcast with people or something. I'm trying to think of another line where there's some real-time connection, fitness related, because people still do want to see us live. They love that they see your face and it's happening right now. I know people appreciate that, but it's really a challenge I find to do the strength and audio quality and what I like to see just through the live streaming.
Yeah, I agree. Before we started this live broadcast, we were chatting a little bit before, and I was talking about just I didn't even hear about Zoom until this whole ordeal happened, where one of my clients had asked me. I said, okay, I looked into it and I thought, all right, let's try it out. And yeah, I like the fact that great, we can still stay connected and provide some inspiration, and also, let's be honest, some income, during the shutdown area. But at the same time, yeah, I prefer face to face. I have done some pre-recordings for you and as well as for myself, because I do. I also have an online program as well that normally I pre-record the stuff and they do it at their own time. Again, different time zones, but yeah, it's a challenge. I think that we're just all trying to find a way to navigate this. I don't know if once we come back to the gym, when everything gets back up and normal, I don't know if I'd continue doing live streaming. I think I would just do the pre-recorded stuff, and those that decide to sign up to my online program, they can do it that way. Because again, it's one, yeah, the lag time, the sound quality is just not quite there. And also, sometimes people, they hide their video and I can't see their form. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Right.
And because that's the whole class. Yeah, thing of the Zoom thing. It's like you want everyone's pictures to be up, and that was supposed to be recreating that club experience or studio experience. And then when you start clicking off your picture, then
here's the thing. You know what, guys? I think that it actually might just be a completely different art form. The Zoom I think it's Zoom coaching, it's Zoom training. Whereas we, like, the three of us are a little bit diva. We like the performative aspect of it, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. So we want our music. We want to be on perfect time, blah, blah, blah. So I think that it's different when it's a Zoom call. It's really about being like, all right, everyone, who's like, whatever, do this. Everyone who's like, okay, now battle, like whatever. So it's really about like crowd management. It's about engagement. It's about like calling out individuals. So it's about coaching rather than us performing. I think it's a completely different art form.
I think that's a good point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe like, who knows? It's just a matter of like we're all trying to find different ways to navigate the situation. But long term, or who knows, maybe Zoom might improve their platform to allow. Because not just us in the fitness industry. I was listening to a YouTube clip about a woman who was trying to navigate it as a voice coach, and as a music instructor. And again, the issues that she was having with hearing back the music, and it was just like, are you out of tune or is it me? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, for sure.
I mean, I think one thing this has shown us that like having an online presence is very important, right? Because it creates because certain gyms have closed down. They realize we have no other profit structure besides our brick and mortar. Like,
totally.
And I've watched a lot of webinars, and it's a good time for companies to sit back and try to develop an online presence. Because what if you're, God forsake, your gym burned down, then your profit structure is gone again. But if you had some online presence or another profit revenue structure, then it could help your business stay
So
afloat.
true. I mean, dudes, I was so resistant to the online stuff for so long, like particularly Instagram. I was like, please don't make me do that. I don't want to do that. And like, even when I went to, you know, when my book was being shopped around with publishers, guys, the number one question they asked is like, how big a following does she have online? Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how good the book is. It just, because it's all sales, right? They're like, does she have enough of a following that people will buy it?
Right.
That's the number one question. And that is, so I really like any fitness instructor. I feel you so hard if you don't want to do the social media thing. And I know all your reasons and I honor them. And you still have to.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's another job in and of itself, but
Totally.
it plays a big part of the picture that we're in now, especially now.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and it doesn't have to be like all the Instagram influencers with their butt selfies. It can be like what Steve is doing, where he's just lip syncing every day. And I love every day when I scroll through my feed and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then there's Steve in a costume, like ponytail or whatever. Like, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because that started as, I found TikTok, or it could be anything. I'm like, I'm going to do one day. Then I did another because I had time. And then I realized the amount of comments and the amount of personal messages I'd be getting, like, oh, this is how I'm staying connected with my fitness people. It's not necessarily I'm doing some fitness thing for them, but I'm staying connected.
I love it.
But then it also allows me to, when I put up a YouTube video to go, or a link to go to my YouTube, or for a workout, they will be more encouraged to go look at that now.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Sorry, side note, I'm just loving your nails, Steve. So
I didn't take them off from which one? Oh, Lizzo on Friday. I did Lizzo.
Nice. Kind of jealous right now because right now the whole, everything's shut down. My nails are a mess. My eyebrows are a mess.
That's month.
I cut my hair too on Friday. I cut my hair by myself too.
Nice.
Yeah, as you see, I'm having some style issues, so I'm just improvising with this scarf.
I like that scarf. It's working.
So that's what it is. Yeah, well, awesome. I think we pretty much covered a lot of the different questions I brought out there and talking about, adding sex into the fitness industry, whether we need it, does it sell, issues around that, being honest, being as honest with our clients, but at the same time, we don't need to hurt their feelings. But we still need to be real and be like, honey, you're not going to lose 100 pounds in 30 days. Let's, okay.
Right.
But I'll get you stronger.
Right.
And, also, this whole video streaming stuff, like that's one thing right now for me. I'm like you, when I struggled, I was like resistant. I'm busy as it is. And I got to go upload this and do what? And what, I'm supposed to have 10,000 followers? I'm sorry, I don't have 10,000. I don't have 10,000 people in my class. It doesn't make so it's the struggle of the influencer or whatever, being that thing. Well, for me, especially when it comes to social media, I'd rather just know that I'm actually affecting people on a quality basis. I don't care if it's only 10 people. At least I know that I've impacted those people, as opposed to just appearing as though I have this huge platform because I did a butt shot.
Totally. It's crazy. Yeah. I have a question for you guys. How are you going to change your career after this, if at all?
That's something I've been really thinking about, especially the last 2 weeks. I've been trying to think about what skill sets from this industry and my previous industries I have been in, what will the world need and what will make me happy? It'll have to be, for me, on a personal, it'll have to be something fitness related, marketing, advertising related, and probably travel related. Those are the three things I love the most. So maybe it's time to create your own career, create your own job again. Maybe, because who knows what they're going to want when this is over? Because it might not look like, all the gyms might not open. They might not hire us all back. Like, who knows what that is? So I think developing your next steps is really important. So right now I'm just thinking, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, I've actually been thinking about that as well the last little while when this whole thing shut down. Actually, from day one, I'm like, okay, I need a plan B, C, and E, and D, right? So, I already have a few things on the works, but I've recognized that, I'm a person that strongly believes you just can't keep all your eggs in one basket. I love fitness. I love health. I want to stay within that realm. But at the same time, there's other projects I'd like to also expand upon, so that, I have other options, and not just I'm looking at it from a financial perspective, not just that, but just to be more fulfilled and ensuring that I'm able to really expand all my talents and find out everything that I can do. To me, I'm still growing. I don't believe that I've grown up yet. So, still growing, still exploring. Like, what can I do? Can I do that? Let's try this. So that for me is just part of the journey. Always growing and learning and figuring it out.
How about you, Una?
I think, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to get a little bit more serious about the social media stuff, because now I just throw stuff up haphazardly, and, I feel sort of
You?
burdened by it. But I really feel like, no, I've really got to approach this like this is a service to my people. It's an important way to connect to them. Stop resisting it. Go for it. So I think that that's one of the ways, because I have been a little bit like, oh, wow, now every person is online with these fitness things and whatever. So it's been a bit of a,
Right.
it's great. It's a great wake up call. And I've also really loved, I mean, it's amazing now that some fitness person that I had a huge fitness crush on that's on the West Coast, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I can go to those classes, and that's great.
Right.
And that is going to be the new norm, which is amazing. It's going to make all of us level up our game.
Right.
It's going to be the people who live within a block from our gym. We've got the whole world. So it's a massive audience for us, and a really great way for us to start up leveling and distinguishing ourselves. So I think it's great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that you were honest about, you felt that you're throwing stuff up haphazard. I'm like, I look at your stuff. I love your stuff. I'm like, does she have like a makeup artist and a whole crew? Right?
Oh my
How does she
gosh.
do all this?
Oh, dude, it's just a scramble. If you ever, I mean, call me anytime, and I'll tell you whatever you need to know. But I'm no perfect at it at all.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of your stuff. I swear that you had a whole like crew, like, with like lights and camera and makeup artists dusting you off before that show.
In the beginning, I'll say it was very anxiety driven for him. Like, oh my God, all these colleagues are putting up so much stuff, and oh my God, how much stuff do I need to put up a day? And
Totally.
Right? Like, do I need this much content? Should I just have one thing that has multiple levels you can work on? So you just do one video rather than 7 different versions of the video.
Yeah. I hear you on that for sure. Yeah. There was an initial mad scramble, right?
And then I'm like, you just need to calm down, Steve, and do what you're good at and what you think is going to work for you and your people. And don't worry what anybody else is doing.
That is exactly it.
Right. Yeah.
That is exactly it.
Yeah. And then on the other side too, I know for me, I'm sure you probably have had this for you guys as well, is you have your own internal struggle. What do I do? But then you also have the gyms that are sort of like, I had so many people asking me, can you do live this and that and that? And I'm like, wait a second, guys, I'm one person. Right? So, you have to navigate and still trying to keep the relationships with the gyms. But at the same time, I've had to be honest with them and say, what you're asking of me is a lot. This is what you're asking of me. And
Dione, you have the
willing
gyms
to work
asking
with
you to do videos? The gyms?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And I'm willing to work, but at the same time, I let them know that doing a video, like if you're paying me for a 1-hour class, a video doesn't take,
Yeah.
you all know, it doesn't take just, an hour.
Yeah, for
Especially
sure.
if editing, like just the editing alone, you guys know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's being able to have that conversation to say, this is a lot of time, and, how can we navigate this process so everybody wins, kind of thing.
And who owns the video?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to be discussed there for sure. I wonder if one of the ways that the industry is going to change after this is more individual instructor brands versus gym brands.
That'll be interesting.
It could be. That could very well be.
Yeah.
Depending how strong someone's online presence becomes over
Yeah.
the course of this,
Because
whenever this ends.
Totally.
Maybe be like, this is a better avenue for me. I'll do a little bit gym and most online or something.
Mm-hmm. Because I am noticing that even the gyms that are putting up online classes, they are now in a position where they have to really build up that instructor as worth showing up to that specific online class. Whereas before it was, come to this so-and-so gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
I think some gyms might be missing the mark on actually doing exactly what you said, Una.
Yeah.
They're missing a little bit of an opportunity where highlight your instructors that have a big following and maybe find some way to do that for them to do your lives on your your Insta or your Facebook, or have them do the pre-recorded stuff for you.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And pay your instructors to do that.
Correct. That's the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's great because then the followings can go both ways, right? It's
right.
abundance for all. It's great.
And support, like for me, like one particular gym that I asked, I said, I let them know I'm willing, but I need the support because, just using my phone is not going to be like, you need the equipment and the possible support. So the question is, who's going to provide that equipment, that support, right? Because, just holding up your phone and doing a quick little 10-second or 30-second or 1-minute video, it's just not going to be the same level of quality when you have a proper setup. So it's ensuring that is properly supported, right?
And then the other thing is, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then the other thing is, with everybody scrambling to do these quick at home, I make my own videos or Zoom or whatever. I mean, then the consumer becomes aware, oh, there's way higher quality on fitness streaming things like, Les Mills on Demand or Beachbody or whatever. So then that's a whole other level at which those gyms are competing, or those fitness instructors, however you want to see it.
This is a little bit off topic, but about the video stuff. I mean, I've been trying to not be, I'll be honest, in the very beginning, when I saw fitness influencers versus fitness professionals doing stuff, I was super pissed. I was super, let me just drink this.
Yes, spill it, honey, spill it.
I was super not happy about that. I will say I'm still kind of peed off about that. I realized that getting some people to move and be healthy is great. But I'm still trying to resolve that just everybody can do our job. Do you have the credentials? Do you know the safety? Like that stuff, I don't know if you guys felt any of that, but to be honest, that stuff drives me crazy right now. It always has, but it's highlighted now, right? Everybody is a fitness person, which I should guess it's okay. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
Okay. Go ahead, Una.
Well, okay. I'll just say yes to that. I understand that completely. But I also am aware of when I get credentialism snobbery in myself. And I also feel like actually it's not the credentials that matter. It's whether you are getting results for other people. Because I also know a lot of people who are credentialed to the nth degree, who have never, ever put themselves out there enough to get a result for another people. They're just navel gazing and getting more and more credentials and certifications and stuff. And that person, I think, is even more useless than the influencer who is, navel gazing, taking a million selfies about their perfect body. And again, not focusing on what their clients are getting, the results that their clients are getting. So for me, the ultimate credential is, are you getting results for other people? And that's otherwise, I don't care if you have a certification, and I don't care how hot your bot is. It's really how your clients are doing. So show me that.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm in the middle as well, in the sense that it does pee me off that sometimes, like, how are you calling yourself a leader in fitness, right? Because I'm thinking about the safety of people. I'm thinking about, are you actually helping them?
Yeah.
And also the other side of it that I look at is, how does this impact the quality of our industry? And I look at other industries, like I've brought this up before, like with the music industry, when you had Napster come in and say, hey, here's free music, and that just crushed the music industry. So my concern as well, from a quality perspective, is what will this have long-term effect on our industry? Are we just going to be seen as people that really are not valuable when we have credential up your wazoo or not? We do take the time to make sure that we're educated and that we have the skill set to get people the results that they need and that they want. So I'm kind of in the middle, in the sense that it does kind of pee me off sometimes, but at the same time, I think it's also a very wide market. So it's kind of like, sure, come on in, but just make sure that you get the knowledge that's important, to make sure that you're not injuring people and creating more of a problem in people's lives.
Yeah, and I will say that it is frustrating that the fitness industry is completely unregulated, and I think consumers don't know that. Anybody can start their own fitness certification. I could start being like, hey, become a personal trainer. You are now a certified personal trainer, and whatever, and charge people $1 bazillion for the certification, hand them a certification, and then they can go around saying I'm a certified. It literally there's no qualifications that some government agency is designated for that. So, and I think that the consumer doesn't know that, because I don't know about you guys. Sometimes I get questions that are so beyond a trainer's scope of practice that I'm like, guys, what do you think trainers are? And you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so sometimes, they think we're a psychologist and a doctor and a physiotherapist and all these sort of things. So I think that the public's idea of what a trainer or a fitness instructor is qualified to do is completely overblown, and also our certification is not regulated. So I think that we could very much service the public by giving them sort of a checklist of like how to know whether your fitness professional is qualified or helpful or whatever. And
is a real professional.
It's a real professional. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of just get me a thought thinking as well, as that is another idea that I've had in the back of my head for some time, and that maybe this will create an opportunity. Is I thought maybe out of this whole mess, we end up having a regulatory body. I don't like the word union, but somehow, people coming together that are not biased, because, oftentimes if it's for one particular gym, there's some bias here, but a collection of instructors that come together and say, you know what, we do need some regulation. We do need a checklist to protect the consumer basis. We do need something to protect the quality of our profession, like RMTs have, like many other professions that have regulatory bodies to make sure that the public is protected, as well as the people who are giving the service are also protected. So who knows, something like that might come out of this.
And I guess that's what CanFit Pro has been trying to do. And most gyms will require that and most insurance agencies, in order to ensure you need to have a valid certification from CanFit Pro or something like that. So that's it. But then I think it requires really educating the public, as you just said, to know to ask their instructor, are you insured? Because I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. Has anyone ever asked you guys that?
No.
Yeah. And it matters. Like just early this year, before all this happened, I have, of course, first aid, CPR, everything, right? And I had 5 situations that took place in various classes of a health issue where, I had a person nearly faint. And again, it takes somebody that has a proper qualification to be able to, I'm helping this person at the same time while still teaching the class, right?
Totally.
That takes skills.
Totally. Yes, that's right.
I'm like,
Dion's like doing like heart palpitations while she's like bicep curling.
Yeah. So, like being able to yeah, guys, keep going. You got 20 more squats. Quick, ice chips. I need a AAD.
Right.
You're amazing. But
yeah, it's a skill that we learn. Like we want to be able to, that takes, again, day one, I wasn't like that. That takes knowledge, experience, and we want to make sure that, I know for me, if I walk into a room, I want to know, is this person qualified? If something happens to me,
yeah.
Do they have but yeah, like if there's a checklist, I agree with you, Una, that's a great idea. If there's a checklist the public can be aware of,
when
you walk in.
Like the fair questions you can ask, right?
Right. Or even like right now to be like, hey, before you do that Instagram influencers class, here are some things you might want to investigate.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. Maybe not a class, but like a course or something like that. Like, hey, is it all glute exercises?
Right.
Right. You're not going to get healthy by kickbacks alone, girl.
Right.
What's that, Dion?
Yeah, but I want the Brazilian booty though.
Right.
Anyway.
Great.
So I think for me, like it's about maybe switching my mindset of not getting so upset and more like you said, Una, about focusing on people delivering results for people, I guess.
Yeah, that's just it. Yeah.
But it's human. I always like to look at, whenever I have a question or something that bothers me, I look at another industry and say, okay, what's going on in that industry?
Yeah.
I think we're in a situation like, for example, with the acting industry. Like you have actors that were schooled at Juilliard or various, they spent time in their discipline. And then you got these, what do you call these reality shows that come out, and they're getting more recognition than the person who's studied Shakespeare
Yeah.
you know. So they've been through that as well. So it's kind of looking at that situation, saying, okay, well, they've had a similar situation. We're having a similar situation as well. We have credit accreditations up our wazoo, and then this person who does a butt shot is getting more recognition. So it's you know
Yeah.
navigating that somehow and
Sure.
seeing how we feel about it, and also remembering that I strongly believe that what, people will come to us based on what we have to offer and how we attract them and what we can do for them, right?
Exactly. What we can do for them. Yeah. I really like, I know
Mhm.
for me,
Right.
dudes, like, one of my primary practices is stop looking at what everyone else is doing, focus on my clients. And the more I focus on my clients and getting them results and loving them so freaking much, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if
Right.
who's got a hotter body. It doesn't matter if everyone's Instagram is slicker. It doesn't matter. Like, just, oh, no, back on the clients, love them, help them. You're good. And I really think, like, as long as you come back to that, you'll be okay. Or for
Cool.
me.
Awesome. Well,
Agreed.
before we wrap anything up, any final thoughts on the topic of sex lives and video streaming? Anything that you want to share, spill the tea, and experiences of how we can sort of navigate this whole pressure to be sexy and all that kind of stuff, how we can be truthful and video streaming? Any final thoughts you want to share for today?
Nothing other
I
than I
think,
just love this. Yeah.
yeah. I think just being open to keep learning, like as much as you can, and maybe not in the stream you've always been learning. Like you were saying, Dion, maybe like branch off and see what else your life can positively impact the world. Maybe it won't be fitness forever for me, but my life mantra is I'm supposed to leave this world better than I found it in. So anything that gets me to do that, I'm happy to do.
Absolutely. Indeed, indeed. Well, great. Well, thank you so much, lovelies, for joining me today and spilling some tea with me and looking behind the scenes of the life of fitness professionals and the things that we do, and also sharing some of our stories and being honest within ourselves with some of the struggles that we as well have. So, have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe. And to those who are listening, I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today. Or if you're listening a little bit later on, thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate it. Feel free to leave any comments, any questions that you have, and I'd be happy to address them. I'm also, after the show, going to be leaving information for both Stephen and Una. If you want to connect to them through their social media platforms or through their various programs, then you can certainly do that. I'll leave that information in the comments. All right, have a wonderful day. Take
Thanks,
care.
Dion. See you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.